So if you don't know, to get your trader rep up, you need to either buy or sell items to traders or just spend money with them in general. So what I would do first and foremost is try and sell as much as you can to Jaeger and Skier. They don't pay as much as Mechanic, let's say, for weapon parts when you sell something to Skier. However, it'll be much more efficient than like buying and selling things back to Skier later on. So try and sell as much as you can to Jaeger and Skier early on. You're gonna want to go for as many weapon attachments to Skier as you can. Jaeger will buy melee weapons, so if you go into raids with no melee weapon, grab a melee weapon off a scav, especially like an antique axe. That can be a really quick 50-60k that you can just sell to Jaeger. He also buys food at a high value, so if you have extra food, maybe you're going through ground zero, you're hitting the dining hall and you're getting the high value food, you can sell that to him and also get your rep up, get some early rubles. Next up, Ragman. Just sell whatever loose fabric, whatever loose armor you're not going to be utilizing to him. He's pretty picky. You will mostly level up your Ragman through actually purchasing things through him. Then any valuables or loose meds that you're not going to utilize, you can go ahead and sell to a therapist next. And then make sure you're just insuring your gear with Prapor. You can also repair your gear with Prapor if you need more money spent with him, or with Skier as well if you need more money spent with him, as insurance and repairing will also help you level this spent money. And if you do this efficiently, you're going to have way more money to work with. Lastly, with Peacekeeper, he actually utilizes dollars. So what you can go ahead and do is buy USD from Peacekeeper. And when you transition rubles into USD with Peacekeeper and buy that USD from him, he's actually going to count as money spent right there. Then you can go ahead and spend those dollars on any equipment you might want to use from Peacekeeper. Or if there's no equipment you want to use, then you can go ahead and buy items. Let's say you still need to get Skier rev up. You can buy a certain item that Skier will buy. So maybe test out on one item first, then sell to Skier. And the reason why you want to sell to a different vendor is, sure, you could go ahead and sell it back to Peacekeeper, but he's going to pay dollars for it. So if you go with another vendor that you haven't reached the spend level with yet, then you're going to be able to go ahead and turn those rubles back into dollars and then buy something again. So you'll get a lot more bang for your buck in leveling up Peacekeeper. But if you go ahead and sell things and utilize the traders in that fashion, you should reach the spend requirements no problem without having to just waste money buying and selling things endlessly like most players do. The next thing is, I don't want you guys to worry about items that are sold on the flea market. If you need money, just go ahead and sell them. And sure, some items you're going to get a lot more for on the flea market later on. But if your entire inventory is bogged down by items on the flea market, you're out of money, you're out of space, you're just going to give yourself an awful time. Focus on those flea market items after 15. And once we've made this mental shift, don't worry about picking up items that might be worth a lot on the flea market later on. When you're in a raid, just focus on getting equipment you're actually going to use, picking up items you know you can sell to traders for a decent amount, prioritizing your quest items. And then if you want to start working on your hideout, maybe you have like a little list of things you need to collect to start working on your hideout pre-15. You can also collect those, but that's not the end of the world if you don't do that. Once you're level 15, this still applies to you. Just go ahead and sell items to sell for a lot more on the flea market, obviously. If an item sells for around the same market on the flea as it does to a trader, I would suggest just selling it to a trader. Work on your money spent with them, as well as you do have to pay a tax on the flea market. Now, if you want to unlock more slots on the flea market, it might be worthwhile to just go ahead and sell it on the flea market if you already have your trader spend up, so you can get a rep on the flea market and unlock more slots. Now that we have a lot of open space in our stash, what I would go ahead and utilize is put your backpacks all the way down in the bottom of your stash. Go ahead, grab like some rigs and load up all the quest items you want to keep, put them in the bottom of your stash, know where they're at, and then keep the top of your stash empty. This way, when you get out of raid, you're just going to dump all of your items into the top of that stash. You can quickly sort through it, go ahead and pull down anything you want to keep for later on. That means like equipment, quest items, etc. And then just go ahead and sell after every single raid. That way your stash just doesn't become a giant mess. You want to just consistently keep it clean. Now you're going to be in a position where you're no longer needing to hit that auto sort button, and that's exactly where you're going to want to be. The more organized you are in this game, the more raids you can do, the faster you're going to progress, the more money you're going to make, and the more fun you're actually going to have. Let's say you only have 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours to play after work, after school. If you're spending half that time in the stash because your stash is wildly inefficient and unorganized, you're missing out on a lot of game time. Alright, now that we have our stash organized, let's start talking about cases. So if you don't know, there are cases in the game that can only hold certain items, but they'll drastically help you organize your stash. Let's say that they're somewhat like a backpack, except for when you open them up, they'll be much larger. So let's say a case is a 4x4, like the Lucky Scav Junk Box, which is the first case we're going to be talking about. And the interior of it is actually 4 times the size, but can only hold miscellaneous items like miscellaneous sellables and quest items. So the first case I want you guys to go ahead and get is the Lucky Scav Junk Box. Now Therapist actually sells this for 1.1 million rubles, which is a lot of money early on. I understand, but it's going to help you out so much. You can keep all your quest items in there. You can keep sellables in there, so that way you're in a position where, let's say you do want to flea market some items, but you can go ahead and save up 5 or 6 of those items, instead of a lot of players will just sell each item after a raid one by one in the flea market, undercutting to like rapidly get through the items. They're wasting a lot of time. Just stacking a lot of them up in this box and then selling them at the end of the night will save you a tremendous amount of time and make you more money. I have a whole video on this, which I'll have linked in the top right, on how to make 200-300% more money from the flea market. But this is the first investment you're going to want to make into your Escape from Tarkov career. Now you can get this on a barter trade actually from Therapist level 2, and what you're going to need is 40 level 15 and above dog tags. You can go ahead and get these on factory probably pretty easily, probably in the evening, and improve your PvP skills while doing so. However, this trade does get bought out pretty fast, so just make sure you're there when Therapist resets if you want to get one of these boxes. So while you're collecting all these dog tags, I suggest you just go ahead and utilize a rig until you hit level 15, and then you're going to want to purchase yourself a dog tag case. So a dog tag case is only a 1x1, but actually has 100 slots on the inside, but it's only usable for dog tags, obviously. This goes for around 300,000 on the flea market, and that's going to be your best bet. Go ahead and purchase one of these as soon as you can. After that, you're going to want to go ahead and get some ammunition.
It's not unusual, really. When David was linked to the dismembered body found in a car registered to him, he immediately cancelled everything. The tour, the release of the deluxe edition of his album, and so far, he has not said anything at all. Early on, the investigators would say he was cooperating fully, but the investigation was only kicking off. Where his Tesla had been abandoned, it was less than half a mile from his rental property where he was living in the Hollywood Hills. And I say rental property, I mean mansion because, of course. Now, it was strange because that car had not been reported stolen or anything like that. It was just sort of abandoned on this random street a half mile from his house. And you gotta think that, well, you gotta presume that eventually it's gonna be towed, right? And when it does get towed, it will be linked via the license plate to David. And there's a dismembered body in the front trunk of that car the entire time. Having said all that, David was on tour for the last month or so before the body was found, primarily on the East Coast. And he's performing almost every day, or every 2 days. Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, New York, Philly, Cleveland, Boston, Toronto. The car had been left there for 2 to 3 weeks, so it's unlikely that he was the one who left it there, though technically possible that he did. The medical examiner would later identify the remains found in the Tesla as a female, and it would be over a week before she was given a name: Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She was 14 years old. Now, a lot of news reports would list her as 15 years of age. Weirdly, she turned 15 the day before her body was found, and it's believed she was killed quite a long time before her body was found. And you don't still age when you're dead. But it was incredibly tragic. Like, this 14-year-old girl found this child, found dismembered in this R&B pop star's trunk. What the shit? Celeste was from Lake Elsinore, a city southeast of Los Angeles. And from reports, young Celeste had a history of running away from home. Now, why she ran away from home so often is unclear. Did she have good reason to? We don't know. In 2024, 3 times Celeste was reported missing to the police: in February, in March, before the final time in April of 2024. It was that April 2024 runaway she never returned from. She reportedly called her family back in Lake Elsinore in May 2024, saying, I guess she was fine, don't come looking for me, but she never went home again till, then what, a year and a half later, she's found dismembered in a Tesla. Like, the news reports listing her as 15 years of age feels like some dumb shit where they're trying to make it sound like she is older than she is. She was 14. She was a child. And this is when things get even more spicy. Allegedly, when she went missing in April of 2024, she was dating a guy named David. She was 13 years of age when she disappeared. And so if that is indeed D4VD, Fuck this guy. Now, while there's reports of her family trying to find her, reporting her missing to the police, putting up missing
got me really bad.
Locals arrived.
missing person flyers, asking local businesses for a CCTV. There's also alleged reports that her family knew where she was and who she was with, 80 miles away in Los Angeles. And also, allegedly, with a capital A, some of her friends back in Lake Elsinore knew exactly who she was with and were extorting David, extorting him for money in exchange for keeping the whole thing quiet. However, police did not say that David and this victim were dating, but internet investigators, they did find that Celeste and David had the same tattoo, this tattoo on the right index finger. Is the secret that you're grooming a minor and neither of you want anybody to know you're in a relationship together? People would say lots of celebrities have that too, it's pretty common, but I mean, come on. As further evidence of a relationship going on between Celeste and David, a video resurfaced, appearing to show them streaming together on Twitch.
Oh, yo, wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which
that.
one? What's good, David? Big fan, mixed by me. Yo, thank you, Mitochondria. Appreciate you.
I gotta stop with him if you even... We need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too? I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids. No, I need to...
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
This was in January 2024, so when Celeste was running away from home. Again, 13 years of age. Discord screenshots were released of David talking to a Celeste, asking for a Celeste. Photos would surface of David in Lake Elsinore. Now what the hell else would you be doing out there? That's 80 miles from where the Tesla would later be found. He released his most famous song, Romantic Homicide, on her birthday, September 7th, 2022. Her 12th birthday. He would post TikToks sneakily referencing her. She was seen at his concerts, backstage, all of that. Also, again allegedly, David had an unreleased song with lyrics about a girl named Celeste. Well, what are the odds of that one? Small world, huh? Yeah, the lyrics go like this. Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed. Oh Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed. It's lyrics about a 13-year-old girl. Yeah, makes Lolita look like a perfectly normal relationship.
But I'm not done yet.
And sure, fuck it, why not? Let's keep going. There is this theory called the invisible string theory, also called the red string of fate, that David was a mega fan of this theory. Now, what the invisible string of fate is about, it's this East Asian concept, kind of spiritual idea about people being destined to be together, people being, meant to be together, tied together by, big old piece of string. It's very woo-woo, sort of eye-rolly, but our boy Dave, mad into it. He really believed that, you're destined to meet some people, destined to be with some people forever. You were always going to meet this person no matter what. Fate. It's all about fate. On his debut album, Withered, which just released earlier this year, there's even a song titled Invisible String Theory Interlude about this very concept. The song is, it's a conversation David is having with a woman, maybe Celeste, and this woman, maybe a girl, is explaining to David, about the theory and what it means. So that's sort of strange, given all that is happening, that he is such a big believer in the theory that he has a song all about it on his debut album about a woman explaining the theory to him for the first time. So you could sort of think that maybe David and Celeste were such big believers in this theory that they were destined to be together, tied together forever, that maybe they could convince themselves that, oh hey, her being a child, this sort of, the red string of fate sort of overrides that, so we don't need to worry about her being underage. That's why she would run away from home, that it was them against the world. So I guess sort of maybe that made it, what they were doing, okay. In their minds. Or David's mind, at least. Now, to keep going with this, there is a website called Unsent Letter Project, where people just write these short little letters that are meant for, former friends, former lovers, and it's, very romantic and sort of high school girly. But on February 23rd, 2025, there was a letter written titled Celeste. Now, David would have been aware of the website Unsent Letter Project because it had been posted to his Discord earlier. And the letter to Celeste, it goes a little something like this. You will forever be the one that got away. I hope the invisible string theory exists for us. Now, we will get into it later, but it is very possible that Celeste could have been dead by the time that letter was written. Now, again, we don't know if David wrote that. It could have been anybody, right? But when it was posted, which could have been around when Celeste died, it's titled Celeste, and it references David's obsession with the invisible string theory. And here is a video of him explaining the invisible string theory in an interview. This was 2 months after that Unsent Letter Project letter. He's explaining the song Invisible String Theory, which is also interlude.
With this interlude, is kind of like telling my view on what the invisible string theory is, or the scarlet string, or the whatever. This is so many different names.
Is that
for
like
it.
that? Is it also connected to like the rope that's around?
Yes.
In the
In the
music
album
video?
cover, I'm covered in this string, which is representative of the invisible string theory. But throughout the entire project, I wanted everything to feel connected. I wanted everything to feel holistic and have a through line that everybody could understand. And with the interlude, it's kind of explaining from my perspective how it was taught to me, because that's a real conversation that happened. And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like, people say that the string can't be cut and the connection cannot be severed, but I feel like it can sometimes. And that's where I wanted to put, Afterlife and all these songs that feel like endings and conclusions and goodbyes on the project.
Yikes, big yikes, folks. That is, he cut the string. It's all about endings, death. Not looking good for you, pal. And then, just to cap this sort of section off, there was a comment posted in reply to one of his TikTok videos. The comment was posted back in 2024. And this comment, posted on one of his little videos, it's sort of obtuse, sort of hard. You have to really read between the lines as to what this person means when they wrote this. Now, let me just bring it up. Let's see if we can decode this. Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl. Wonder what that means. And that's just half of the creepy links between the two. Then even more stuff came out. I mean, allegedly. Okay, so this part of the story is still pretty unclear. But on Instagram, David only followed a handful of people. One of those handful of people was an account named It's Matthew Tree. And Celeste, she had a brother named Matt Rivas. So this Matt that David followed, and the account was completely blank, so people were pretty suspicious about who this account was. They began DMing him, basically saying, hey, David was allegedly dating this girl who was found dismembered in his car. She had a brother named Matt. Are you that Matt? He then started to reply. More of the story started coming out. And again, just to be clear, it's not, confirmed that this is actually Celeste's brother, but the story went a little something like what I'm about to read out for you. This entire conversation was posted by an account called Arav. Dude, why does David follow you? All respect to your sister, and I hate how shitty people are being. Was it really him? Jesus. All love, man. Yes, it was him, because he found my account out of nowhere and followed me. Fuck, well, he had it coming. That's wild, just randomly. Did you even ever talk to him? I met him once in person. Did you and your family know of your sister being with him? Was she living with him? All of this stuff is so confusing and disgusting. I knew and went to the police about it, but lack of evidence. So it was waved off. Bullshit. Now there's 1,000 people backing you up. That won't happen again. But if they had listened, even then they don't do anything. They haven't done anything towards him. That's how it is with celebrities. Just look at fucking Diddy. They don't do shit. I know it fucking sucks. Fucking crazy people suffer for it. How long has she been gone? Dead? 2 weeks. Which disputes what the medical examiner's saying. Damn, that's so soon. People have been saying a month. The dude's a weirdo. His songs all have weird messages and imagery. What do you think happened? He just didn't want her to expose him being with her? I don't know. Damn. Was your sister like in love with him and choosing to stay? I'm guessing it was all him just manipulating her. Yeah, she was always saying that he was waiting till she was 18 to get married and stuff like that. The medical examiner would later determine that Celeste had been deceased for an extended amount of time before she was found, like long before she turned 15 years of age. In fact, in some reports, it's believed that she may have been deceased like since the springtime. She was found in September. She may have been dead for months before her dismembered body was found in the car. Was she in a bag in the car for months before it was found abandoned on a random street in the Hollywood Hills? So what the shit happened between when she was last reported missing in April of 2024 to when she died, possibly murdered? I mean, it's not like she dismembered herself, which likely happened sometime in the spring or summertime of 2025. And I mean, as all of this was coming out at the time in September, online people were trying to blame everybody except the guy who owned the car she was found in and was likely dating the victim. No way it could have been him. It must have been a friend, an accomplice, his manager, maybe. One of them did it. And maybe he didn't dump the car as he would have been on tour for the previous month, but he sure as shit could have been around when she died. After Celeste's body was found, her family launched a GoFundMe to help with funeral costs and stuff like that. As many of you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been identified as the body found last week. She was a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Her family is heartbroken and devastated by this tragic loss. Any funds you are able to donate are greatly appreciated. It's disgusting, like, even without the dead body, possible murder, that you gotta imagine, like, a popular guy like David, he's going to be surrounded with some kind of entourage. All the parasites that come out of the woodwork as soon as they, smell money. So he would have all of these agents, managers, and all that. And some of them must have known something. Especially if she had been dead as long as she likely had been dead for. And even him simply dating a 13-year-old, likely earlier than 13, as he references her before she even turned 13 years of age. Like, it's insane. And nobody said anything about, oh yeah, by the way, this popular singer, he's an alleged, predator. I mean, this is the same sort of disturbing shit you see all the time with all these Hollywood people doing sick shit behind the scenes. It's just fucking gross. Now, David's manager, Josh Marshall, would claim he had no idea about Celeste, had no idea his client was dating an underage and reported missing by her family child. There was also, allegedly, an email sent to him back in 2024 from adults in Celeste's life. Her family, they were emailing his manager saying, please help us. Maybe our daughter is a child. Maybe, what is this, the Rolling Stones in the 70s? He denied getting an email. A neighbor, though, of the house in the Hollywood Hills would say he's seen David and Celeste all the time. They were always hanging out together. She was probably living in the house with him. But the neighbor, he thought she was, he didn't realize she was so young. He thought she was like 19 years old, like a student at USC or something.
Tonight, law enforcement sources say the LAPD spent hours searching the Hollywood Hills home of star singer David. Detectives removing multiple items from the home overnight, including a computer. Police say the Tesla had been abandoned not far from there.
This morning, authorities urgently looking for clues in the death of Celeste Rivas.
In the meanwhile, the investigation was quietly moving forward. A search of David's rental house was done, and some items of evidence, including his computer, were seized. It hasn't been released, however, what exactly. They had been in there for almost 12 hours, and it was also reported that the LAPD had a special team in there with luminol looking for possible blood in the home. On September 17th, David's parents' home in Houston, Texas was swatted.
Waller County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, I need help.
Okay, what's going on? Where are you at?
My address is...
Okay, what's going on?
I heard, some, gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were, right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
Okay, what's your name?
Say it again?
What's your name? Okay, and why do you believe that somebody's dead?
I just heard, a loud scream, and there was, gunshots.
You want to tap the door? Just wait for me. Because I'm going to keep you covered. we got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? That's it.
That's it. What actually got?
We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed.
What?
I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir. No, sir.
Knock on the door. We need to talk to him. We ain't got time for this.
Ma'am, we got to figure out what's going on so we can leave, okay? I need you to talk to us.
We have calls dropping. Everything's okay.
I'm sorry? For what? We're right here.
Very advised. We made contact. They said nothing happened here. She shut the door. Now she's calling 911. Sorry to bother you, but somebody called and said there was something. I mean, there was a person they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead. Yeah.
That's why we had to take caution. You know what I mean? Wasn't trying to scare y'all. Just. Hey, what's the whole number? Go to your numbers right here. This button. But it would ping here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What?
So like whenever you call 911, wherever you are, it sends like a ping that's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was meeting. County to engine 42.
So is there somebody on my property?
It could be. We'll check the property for you. Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So that was a false alarm. See, I don't like this kind of thing. So if I really do have an emergency, then...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Well, if you do have an emergency, you know we're going to be here.
Okay.
We're going to get here.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
An anonymous caller said there was a shooting with a dead female victim. Of course, police arrived and nothing was happening. As pranks go, it's a fairly shite one. Something also interesting, because this case is full of these little interesting tidbits, was that the owner of the rental where David was living, now the owner of that house didn't know who David was. You never heard of him, didn't know David was living there. The rental house, the agreement for that house had been signed by Josh Marshall, who was David's manager. And after all this came out, David swiftly left and has gone to ground somewhere, probably somewhere in LA or in Houston, Texas. But anyways, the property owner, they hired a private investigator. Why they hired a private investigator to investigate the case when, this is already a police matter, not too sure. The private investigator would say that the homeowner of that rental where Celeste may have been living, may have died, wanted to know exactly how the house was linked to the case. So, I don't know, maybe they could sue David or something. Because everybody's a vulture, it seems. By the way, also, that house, you know how much the rent was? It was 20 grand a month to live in that house. We truly are in the age of people being greedy enough to ask for it and stupid enough to pay it.
The last date that we have that shows her alive is January 2nd, 2025. The medical examiner has said she was in a very advanced state of decomp.
The PI would reveal the last time Celeste had been seen alive was January 2nd, 2025. That is a long time before she was found, 9 months. The PI would also reveal that the Tesla in question, starting in May of 2025, had been parked at a few different spots around the neighborhood, before finally, on July 29th, was left in its final spot where it would later be towed from. Which is, coincidentally, that date, that's when everybody started leaving LA for David's tour. So possibly David could have been the one moving that car, after all, it would seem.
That car, starting in May, was parked at a few different areas around that neighborhood, and then ultimately July 29th left in its final, parking spot on Bluebird. And this happens to be right before, or the same day that they're leaving on a tour bus to begin the tour for David's, tour.
The remainder of David's tour canceled last month.
They're probably, relying on toxicology to better understand exactly what happened, which means it could be an accidental overdose with a really bad decision made afterwards.
A car with possibly a dismembered body inside of it. And it's a Tesla. They have cameras like all over the wazoo. The police must be able to know, like, who was the last person inside the car, who was the last person to be driving it. They must be able to tell from the cameras, but they're keeping everything pretty close to the chest at this point. Like everything in this humdinger of a twisted tale, the police have said, jack shit. The private investigator, by the way, Steve Fisher, he would claim, he'd learned more from his contacts within the force about some of the items the police had seized from that rental home, when the police searched it after the body was found. And he would say, quote, "There were some items at the house that were still in their original manufacturing packaging that had been delivered that have no use in a home in the Hollywood Hills. These are items that belong more on a farm than in a home. It would make no sense to even own these things," saying they were sadistic and tools to get rid of a body.
They were disturbing items.
And Fisher told KTLA he found items that could be linked to the crime. Items left behind by LAPD even after a search of the property.
There's some items, some physical items that I unfortunately can't disclose, but they are significant because they could be something that could have been used in a plan to actually get rid of her body.
Now that is probably the vaguest and sort of dumbest shit I've ever heard. That could literally be anything, by the way. He's just being purposely vague. I mean, that could be a fork. This is sadistic and could be used to get rid of a human body. You know what else could be? Celeste's body was released to her family on September 23rd. However, by that time, the authorities still hadn't determined a cause of death. In fact, to date, it hasn't been determined at all. No one knows how she actually died or was killed. She was determined to not be pregnant, though, as some people were thinking maybe that's a possible motive for her death, was that this underage girl gets pregnant and Popstar doesn't want his career ruined, yada yada yada. You know where it goes from there, but she wasn't. Now this case has been slower than molasses, but as you can imagine, with such celebrity tied up on it and the sheer amount of internet-ness associated to the case, like David was self-admittedly chronically online, from YouTube to TikTok to the Discord, so the evidence trove here is extensive, I would say. Big. It's bigly. So the hubbub around this case has reached fever pitch. David, meanwhile, has gone to ground. All of the brand campaigns that he was supposed to be a part of, which were many, as, a lot of brands would want to attach themselves to him, this rising star. I mean, not anymore. As I said, the Withered tour was accidentally a funeral tour for his own career because all campaigns just dropped him. All these celebrities, buddies, rubbing elbows with him, always dropped him like a bad habit as well. Now, initially, the LAPD would say they had no suspect in the case, which, okay, sure. Saying they didn't have a cause of death, so no idea if this was a homicide or no. But likely concealing a dead body was the crime. But I mean, as I said, she didn't dismember herself. With someone as high profile as David, though, it makes sense that they would say all of this. They would really want to make sure that they have their ducks in a row before they do anything. As time went on, though, the police would say, "Actually, you won't believe it. David is not actually cooperating with the investigators at all. Ho hum." But as the investigation continues, the cause of death was now listed as deferred, which means they haven't found it yet. They are still working on it. And they're also still awaiting a toxicology report. However, they would say that whomever done this, just racking my brains. I wonder who that means. Whomever did this, they likely had help dismembering and disposing of this young teen's body.
Now to some breaking news. Singer David now considered a suspect in the death investigation of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. A source with knowledge of the investigation telling Eyewitness News.
In late November, David was, police didn't deny he was a suspect, but they didn't officially label him a suspect either. But he is. We all already know that he is most definitely a suspect. When they're asked about it, right? They won't say he is, but they won't deny that he isn't. They're just being all sorts of coy, Roy. They ain't saying he is it, but they ain't saying he ain't it. And part of that's really linking him to being a suspect, other than the whole dismembered body found in his car thing, seems to link to a mysterious trip that he took in the spring of 2025 to a remote place in Santa Barbara County. Allegedly, in spring, he drove out there in the middle of the night and stayed there for a couple of hours. Now, spring of 2025 is when he made this trip. Celeste died, it's believed, in spring of 2025. So, did he drive there in the Tesla? Was she a deceased Celeste in that car when he drove out there to this remote place? And police insiders have said he likely received help dismembering and disposing of her body. So, did he drive out there with a deceased Celeste, and then they went out to this remote place and dismembered her, and then put her back in the car, then drove back into the city and started, putting the car around all of these places before finally just leaving it there when it was found? And there's still no actual cause of death on, what actually happened to Celeste. And information, it would still come leaking out, but a lot of it would be very, very conflicting about, what actually happened to her. First, it would come out that she had been decapitated, and then her body had been frozen in the car. So likely, if she had been frozen for so long, a cause of death would be unable to be determined because of that. That was some of the initial reports that came out. But later, an LAPD chief would have to come out and say, no, she wasn't found frozen, because it doesn't make any sense. Here's what he said, right? I'm quoting from what he said. Celeste's body was not frozen. She was not decapitated. The whole frozen thing doesn't even make sense. Her body was in the car for weeks. Even if she had been frozen solid when she was put into the car, which there is no evidence to suggest she was, 5 or more weeks in the trunk of a car in sweltering heat in the middle of summer would not have resulted in a partially frozen body being discovered on September 8.
Celeste's body was frozen when it was discovered is untrue. Celeste was not decapitated. So I'm not sure exactly who their source is that's giving them this information. Disappointing to me, because all of this misinformation that's being put out there, it just creates additional work for my investigators that they have to do in order to get to the truth of the matter.
Then the LA County Department's medical examiner, who would have been responsible for the autopsy and medical examinations of Celeste's body, they would come forward saying that they had received a court order from the LAPD, basically putting what's called a security hold on Celeste's case. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner's report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. The department understands the public's interest in the case and remains committed to transparency when possible. Information will be made available once the court order is lifted. But when the court order will be lifted, Lord knows. But what that truly shows is just how close to the chest the authorities are keeping this entire story, with the amount of attention it's getting, which is sort of good, I guess, maybe? I mean, they're building such a case against, they're likely doing this, building such a case against David that they really want, nothing out there whatsoever. It's still in the growing stages. On December 9th, 2025, it's now been 3 full months since Celeste's body has been found in that Tesla. Robert Morgenroth, who is an executive with David's record label, was called in to testify in front of a grand jury. This took place over 3 days, and they were asking him, Robert Morgenroth, and just basically, record label executives, when Celeste's body was found, why didn't you guys come forward, maybe call the police, maybe, want to bring this to the police's attention immediately and be totally upfront with everything, right? It's kind of like, this is sort of a big deal. You think you'd want to, get there, clear this whole matter up. Evidently not. Robert Morgenroth replied to the grand jury, and I'm quoting again here, "I feel like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour." Great! Still no word on charges coming for David, but like I said, with the grand jury now up and running, when they're calling all these people in, all these witnesses in, to decide if they have enough to proceed with an indictment, it seems like, yeah, they're debating on that issue right this moment about what charges they're going to bring. And in fact, while we wait on possible charges for David, another person probably will be charged really, really soon if they haven't been already. As part of this grand jury, they called forward an unidentified female witness. Wanted her to come in to testify in front of a grand jury to tell, what she knew about Celeste's death, possible murder. She failed to show up to court as part of this grand jury and tell what she knew. So, because she failed to show up, it appears that she may be arrested for contempt of court and then be forced to testify. Who she is and what she knows, we'll have to wait and see. And all of that takes us up to the most recent updates in the case of David. This case, I was just reading the other day. David is like the most searched Google person of the year of 2025. So yeah, this is it's pretty big. It's pretty big news. But who knows what's going to happen? Let's see what does. And you never know, right? This story is so full of all this weird shit, and it's just mad, folks. It's just absolutely mad. It's fucking batshit. And I got a feeling the weird shit is just going to keep coming out. Weird shit is going to keep coming out, isn't it? I got a feeling we haven't even fucking started. Thank you so much for watching, folks, on the story of David, everything that we know so far, but I think this video could be out of date in like a couple of weeks. It's wild, the stuff that is coming out. So, keep an eye on the news, keep an eye on what is coming out. And guys, thank you so much for watching. This is going to be one of my last videos of 2025. Much more to come in 2026, so just and the news, keep an eye on what is coming out. And guys, thank you so much for watching. This is going to be one of my last videos of 2025. Much more to come in 2026, so just
Give up! Take this, you motherfuckers!
EFT's not ours! I see the enemy! Bad guy, over there! Hurts.